Greetings, Steiners, and welcome to another edition of the Collapse Cafe here on the Doomstead Diner. And as you can see, it is a beautiful sunrise this morning here in Anchorage, Alaska, and yet another bit of lovely scenery for us all to enjoy while we await the collapse of industrial civilization. And for today's discussion, I'd like to talk a little bit about what's going on with the military and the apparent global shortage of cannon fodder. Yes, there is not enough people of the correct age to go out and stand in front of the bullets for just about any country. Of course, the greatest concern here is our own military, which has suffered the inability to recruit new soldiers for a number of years. They're falling 10 to 20,000 people short every year in the armed services, and they are now discussing reinstituting the draft, making selective service registration mandatory. Well, it actually has been mandatory, but it wasn't done automatically. And now there's a bill in Congress that will have all young people who turn 18 to be automatically registered for selective service. And that doesn't mean that they'll be drafted yet, but it does pave the way, and one can sense that that is coming sometime in the near future. There is a lot more conflict in the world right now. We've got Ukraine ongoing. We've got the situation in Israel with Gaza. There's talk of possible Chinese invasion and takeover of Taiwan, which has been run independently of mainland China basically since the Communist Revolution back around World War II time. And then just the numerous other brush wars that are ongoing around the world. And plus, we also have the issue of immigration, and our military isn't directly responsible for that. We have the Department of Homeland Security and a Border Patrol and so forth, but nevertheless, our Coast Guard is involved in the issue, especially these days, since they have people have started to come from Mexico via the beaches in California. Boats come up there and they pull right up onto the beach, and 10, 20 people at a time come off the boat and go running across the beach to waiting cars and so forth to zip them away into the great number of people who are undocumented here and living in one sort of situation or another. So the Coast Guard's involved, and that takes military recruitment as well. They are a part of the armed services. So what's the reasons for this? Well, first of all, you have the problem of the falling birth rate, and the number of people who are being born each year is becoming less and less, and so there just aren't enough people because of that. And then there's also the issue, cultural issues and health issues. A lot of people are not eligible for the military service because of overweight. Okay, obesity is epidemic in the United States. Drug addiction is another reason you're not allowed to be in the military. And we have both drug addiction and also drug overdoses and suicides. All those things are on the rise in the United States, mental health problems. So that puts you off. You weren't for many years. A requirement to be in the military was to have at least a high school diploma. And just recently, in the last year, they waived that requirement. You don't even need to be a high school graduate anymore in order to enlist in the military. Okay, um, and and they're doing just about everything they can to try to find people who will do that job. And another reason on the sociological level is the uh, uh, the mindset. Okay, you have to have a certain amount of um, loyalty and a certain amount of respect, if you will, for the institutions um, in order to want to be a part of that. Because it's not a very pleasant thing to be in the military in general. And if you look back at the way people would fight, the British used to say, "For king and country," when they'd go into battle. But who in America would say that? Would you, say this is for Trump, this is for Biden, and for the great country of America, which these days is not really doing so great. Okay, the future for young people does not look very good in terms of their possibilities for how their life is going to go, what the kind of jobs they're going to get, whether they're going to be able to afford to buy a house, afford to raise children. Um, all of those things look like they're disappearing. The American dream has become the American nightmare. So, is that something you want to go and fight for and risk your life for? So, uh, what does that mean for the future of warfare? All right, and it's not just a problem here; it's a problem in China as well. They've had demographic problems with the number of young people, even more severe than we have here. Aging population. Same with the Japanese and the Germans. One suggestion is that we're going to substitute robots to fight wars. But to me, that is just a kind of a ludicrous idea. I mean, if you remember back to Vietnam, well, you have to be old enough to remember back to Vietnam, but uh, there used to be nightly news reports where there would be the kill count, and it would say X number of Americans, usually in the hundreds, 100, 200 Americans were killed, and then the number of North Vietnamese, and 2,000, 3,000 North Vietnamese were killed. We had these enormous kill ratios. The boys in the black pajamas seemed to die like flies, but very few Americans, relatively speaking, of course, died. They were in the course of the war. I believe it was in the tens of thousands, maybe even more than that. Uh, American boys died in Vietnam. So, if you had robots fighting the war, I mean, would people really care if 500 robots were damaged or came back killed in action? I don't think that would bother anybody too much. Um, and also with the latest with the military equipment that the fascist states of America has been providing to Ukraine. I mean, the stuff, a lot of it's been non-functional or broken, or and it can't be repaired, so forth and so on. We're building these high-tech devices that don't work. So I'm not sure that robotics is going to be a solution to substituting for military uh, uh, jobs and military action in the future. Uh, I mean, in reality, that's a good thing, okay? It would be nice if we don't have wars because there's nobody around to fight them. Hmm? Uh, we'll have to see how that goes. Uh, it's hard to imagine uh, what the situation's going to be like if and when a conflict of, of sufficient uh, depth and importance and so forth that our government feels that it's necessary for us to go fight. Something like in Afghanistan or something like that, where they want 100,000 troops to go fight somewhere. How they're gonna how they're gonna get the people to do it, and I kind of in a perverse sort of way look forward to that. Uh, it's just something to think about, and it's yet another interesting uh, outcome of what's happening with collapse and with the demographics and the population problems that we have, which interestingly we uh, felt for many years that overpopulation was going to be the primary problem, and it really is still the primary problem because that is what really leads to the excessive pollution and resource depletion that are and energy shortages that are our systemic problems. But uh, nevertheless, our whole economic system is built on the idea of perpetual growth, and that is underpinning that is the idea that our population will continue to grow, and it's just not going to grow anymore, at least not for the foreseeable future. So, how society is going to deal with that is going to be a question that is going to come over the medium term. The next 10, 20 years, we're really going to see the effects of the low birth rate. And one of the first places we're seeing it is with military and military recruitment. So, just that short little note for today, and I'm going to try to keep my daily briefings a little shorter than the last couple. I try to keep them 15 minutes or less from now, so that you can review them quickly, listen to them while you're in the car. You don't need to see my face, although when it's beautiful sunrise like today, I think it's so nice to look at. But anyway, that's all the doom this time until next time, here on the Doomstead Diner. Hasta la pasta.